From the very first seconds, the tone is set, and not in a good way. A plainclothes officer, later identified as PC Allen, approaches with immediate hostility, demanding that the auditor identify himself. But here's the crucial point. Under UK law, during a voluntary encounter, a member of the public is under no legal obligation to provide their name or address unless they are being reported for an offence or placed under arrest. That's not opinion, that's the legal standard. PC Allen's assertion that filming is suspicious is exactly that, an assertion. Suspicion on its own is subjective. It is not a substitute for lawful grounds. Public photography is entirely legal in the United Kingdom, and standing on a public pavement filming a public building does not, in and of itself, constitute a criminal act. What we're witnessing here isn't the enforcement of law, it's the enforcement of perception. And when an officer opens an interaction with aggression rather than clarity, it immediately undermines any opportunity for calm, professional de-escalation. In high-pressure public encounters, tone matters. Authority carries weight. And when that authority is exercised without clear legal grounding, the entire interaction begins on unstable footing.
Excuse me?
What are you doing?
I'm just filming.
Why?
Matters of public interest.
Huh?
Matters of public interest.
Alright.
Just people are interested in, the upkeep of the building, how their taxes being spent. Sorry, who are you? Are you...
Do you understand that filming
Police
outside of a
constable.
police station looks a little bit suspicious?
What are you suspicious of?
Well, why are you filming
Would you
outside the police
identify yourself? You're just a guy that
station? I don't need to
in random dress.
myself, do you?
Well, I don't even know who you are, mate. Could you identify yourself, please? Fair enough, if you're a member of the public and you're curious, then I'll tell you, but if you've got a bit of authority or something, then I think you should identify yourself.
Alright mate, there's a guy filming outside the station. Don't know, some bloke walking down.
You just come from the gym or something?
No.
Sorry, who are you?
Right, I'll tell you who I am. My name's PC Allen, I work here at
Oh, okay, thank you.
What happens next is a textbook example of escalation by numbers. A marked police vehicle pulls up, more officers step out, and within moments the auditor is physically surrounded. The dynamic shifts instantly, not because a crime has been identified, but because presence is being used as pressure. PC Allen raises the specter of a substantial terrorist risk, language that carries enormous weight. But rhetoric is not reasonable suspicion. References to terrorism are often invoked to compel identification through intimidation rather than lawful necessity. And it's critical to remember, the Metropolitan Police Service's own guidance makes it clear that officers should not stop and search individuals solely for taking photographs or filming. Public photography in itself is not grounds for detention. Then we hear a female officer ask, "What's going on?" Yet her body language tells a different story. Folded arms. Closed posture. Officers crowding the subject's personal space. These nonverbal signals communicate suspicion and control, not curiosity or dialogue. What we're witnessing is a lawful activity being treated as an inherent threat. And that cuts directly against the core principle of British policing. Policing by consent. When presence replaces proportionality, and optics replace evidence, the legitimacy of the interaction begins to erode in real time.
I'm not here for an argument or to antagonise
Yeah, but
anyone.
I don't really understand why you're filming outside the station.
I've explained matters of public interest. People are interested in how their tax money is being spent, the upkeep of the building,
Right.
interactions
You
with
can
police
understand from my
officers.
perspective, right?
Yeah.
Terrorist risk at the moment is substantial.
Okay.
It's quite strange that as a member of the public, you're stood outside the police station filming. Yeah.
So what are you implying? Do you
So
think
what
I'm a terrorist?
exactly are you filming?
I've explained it, sir.
Right.
So the terrorist risk is substantial, is it? When was the last time a police station was attacked by a terrorist?
Luckily, not recently.
Well, do you actually know when was the last time?
No.
Okay. It's a bit of a strong word to be using.
Alright, guys.
You right, mate?
Hello, good morning.
Morning,
I'm well,
how
yourself?
are you?
Can you not surround me, please?
Okay, what's going on?
I'm just filming.
For why?
Matters of public interest.
Go on, what are the public interests?
I've already explained it to...
Okay, well you can explain it to me.
What would you like to explain to us?
Do you want to explain to me?
I've already explained it to this gentleman.
This is the decisive turning point, the moment where the entire encounter hinges on legality. The officer in the high-visibility vest moves to detain the auditor under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act 2000. That is a serious power. And to exercise it lawfully, the threshold is clear. The officer must hold reasonable suspicion that the individual is involved in terrorism. But listen carefully to the justification offered. The sole basis presented is that the auditor is filming a police station. That alone does not meet the legal standard. Under Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984 Code A, reasonable suspicion cannot be formed from generalizations, assumptions, or stereotypical views about behavior. It must be grounded in specific objective facts. Filming a public building, even a police station, is not by itself evidence of terrorist intent. It is lawful activity. Section 43 is not a tool for fishing expeditions. It is not a mechanism to investigate behavior that merely feels unusual. It is a counter-terrorism power designed for situations where genuine, articulable suspicion exists. If the only justification is, he's filming, then the legal foundation collapses immediately. And from the moment physical contact is made without proper grounds, the detention shifts from proactive policing to something far more problematic. An arguably unlawful search carried out under the banner of national security.
The building, where their taxpayer money is being spent, stuff like that. Is that all good? I don't need to give my name.
That's true.
Would you mind giving your name?
I can if there's a policing purpose for it. But
well, yeah, do you not have to identify yourself, sir?
Yes, I was a police officer.
Well, I don't know if you're a police officer, to be fair. Well, if you're asking me questions, you might have some...
It's just weird that you're recording outside a police station at this time of day with nobody.
I've explained, man. Would you mind identifying yourself? Section 43, yeah? So have you got to be reasonable suspicion that I'm a terrorist?
Section 43.
Right, what suspicion have you got that I'm a terrorist? Alright then, go on then, get on with
They're
it.
going to be searched from Section 43.
Alright, what suspicion have you got that I'm a terrorist?
The fact that you're recording outside a police station...
Oh, I hear that. No, you can.
Yeah, it's just a bit weird that you're searching that.
What suspicion?
Take this off as well.
Can I just leave it there?
Yeah, put it on the floor.
Yeah?
Take this off as well.
Yeah.
Section 43, what?
Now listen carefully, because this is where the entire justification unravels. When the officer is asked what he expects to find, his answer is startlingly direct. I don't know. That admission is devastating to the legal foundation of the search. Reasonable suspicion is not a vague feeling. It is not curiosity. It is not frustration. It requires an officer to suspect that specific evidence related to a specific offense will be found. If the officer cannot articulate what he is looking for, then the threshold for suspicion simply cannot be met. He then attempts to frame the situation as hostile reconnaissance. But that term has a defined meaning in counter-terrorism contexts. Genuine hostile reconnaissance is typically covert, discreet surveillance designed to avoid detection. Standing openly on a public pavement, visibly filming with a camera, is the very opposite of covert behavior. It is overt, transparent, and lawful. What this begins to resemble is not targeted counter-terrorism policing, but a fishing expedition. And fishing expeditions are precisely what search powers are designed to prevent. Under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act 2000, suspicion must exist before the search begins. The search cannot be used to generate suspicion after the fact. When counter-terror legislation is deployed not because of evidence, but because an individual refuses to comply with a voluntary request, the purpose of the law is distorted. At that point, the power is no longer being used to prevent terrorism. It is being used to compel compliance. And that is a profound and dangerous shift in the balance between authority and accountability.
What grounds have you got that I'm a terrorist?
Alright, you're doing something.
What are you expecting to find? What are you expecting to find?
We're not sure yet.
Police station is obviously a high risk of terrorist threat, and that is why we decided to search you today. Alright?
High risk of terrorist threat? What does that mean? What have I done that's suspicious?
As I've said, you're filming outside of a police station.
Why I'm recording, sir.
You've not given a good reason for why you're doing it.
I've said matter of public interest to upkeep of the building. How people...
Nah, you could do a freedom of information request if you really felt that way.
Freedom of information request what? What am I requesting? None of you got body worn camera on.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, thank you. So what were you expecting to find on me, sir? Can I grab the phone, yeah?
Yeah, I'm absolutely.
Alright, so what were you expecting to find on me? What were the grounds for the search? Do you mind answering the question?
How many times have you been filming outside of the police station?
I'm not going to answer that question. So what were you expecting to find on me?
I don't know what I was expecting to find on
So
you.
what were the grounds for the search? Filming isn't enough grounds for the search,
As I said
is it?
to you.
At this point, the auditor makes a crucial and legally accurate observation. Section 44 of the Terrorism Act 2001 allowed officers to stop and search individuals without reasonable suspicion. But those powers were heavily criticized and ultimately struck down after the European Court of Human Rights ruled they violated fundamental civil liberties. They were formally repealed by the Protection of Freedoms Act 2012. That history matters. Because when the officer is challenged on this point, his response, "I was eating my breakfast," is not just flippant. It is deeply unprofessional. Officers swear an oath to uphold the law, not to dismiss it casually when questioned. A response like that signals either a troubling lack of knowledge or a disregard for the legal boundaries of their own authority. Neither inspires confidence. What makes this even more concerning is the implication that Section 43, which does require reasonable suspicion, is being used as a substitute for the repealed Section 44 powers. In other words, deploying a suspicion-based power in circumstances where no genuine suspicion exists, effectively recreating the very authority Parliament removed. Detention must be grounded in objective fear of a specific criminal threat, not irritation, not ego, and not annoyance at a citizen who declines a voluntary request. When counter-terror powers are stretched to fill the gap left by repealed legislation, the issue stops being about public safety and starts becoming about misuse of authority. And that distinction is everything.
Section 43 again. Do you know
Section
why it was
43
introduced? Do you know why it was
gives the police
introduced?
officer a power to search
Why was
someone who
Section
they
43
reasonably
introduced?
suspect to be a terrorist. Reasonably
What
suspect
do
is
you
a 2 out of 10
Okay.
on the register.
2 out of 10. So what do you reasonably suspect of me being a
Because
terrorist?
you're filming outside
this
of a
how-
police
is this how you
station,
detain a terrorist?
Police stations are obviously
Why have you not
a
put me in cuffs then? Why have you
high-value
not put me in cuffs? I
target
would
for
hope that-
terrorists. So from our perspective,
I
we're
don't-
wondering why you're stood out here filming, doing something which we would
I'll
consider
explain,
hostile
sir.
reconnaissance.
It's not hostile
alright?
reconnaissance. Someone doing hostile reconnaissance
could
would
be,
do it covertly.
and that's why we suspect and why we need to search you.
Hostile reconnaissance would be done covertly.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be, but... So why was Section 43 introduced in the first place?
See, that's the thing. A lot of people got nothing to do. I was eating my breakfast.
So what have you got to do? Unlawful searches? Is that what you do, yeah?
Have you got nothing to do with your life?
I've got nothing to do with my life. Nah, COVID's got us doing stuff like this. What do you do with your life? Just unlawfully searching?
The search ends exactly as the law suggested it would, with nothing found. No evidence. No prohibited items. No trace of the substantial terrorist risk that justified the detention. The outcome exposes what the encounter increasingly appeared to be: a search conducted in hope, not in evidence. As the officer walks away, still attempting to project authority, the auditor delivers a sharp, symbolic line: "You're dismissed." It's a striking reversal. In that moment, the power dynamic shifts. Once the search produces nothing, the extraordinary authority invoked under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act 2000 evaporates. What remains is a citizen whose liberty was interrupted, and an officer who offers no apology, no acknowledgement, no reflection. But then something changes. Enter PC Blair on a scooter. Unlike the earlier approach, there is no rush, no crowding, no aggressive posture. He doesn't storm the scene. He approaches calmly, measured in tone and body language. And that subtle difference signals something significant: a complete shift in how this encounter is about to unfold. Because in policing, as in any position of authority, demeanor shapes outcomes. And for the first time in this interaction, we see the possibility of professionalism replacing pressure.
People, you know I can sue you.
Okay.
You know I
then.
can sue you.
Okay then.
You haven't said what you're expecting to find. You didn't have reasonable suspicion. APCO 2010 says filming isn't reasonable suspicion. On the Met Police website, it says that filming isn't. Why was Section 43 repelled? European Court of Human Rights, yeah, repelled Section 44 of the Terrorism Act in 2010. For what reason? And now you're just using Section 43. So this is what we do now, yeah? We done now, yeah?
Sunshine.
Alright, I'm gonna keep filming. I'm gonna
You're
keep
gonna
filming.
get moved on by other officers.
Alright, cool.
You
I'm
know
gonna
that?
keep filming. What?
You've got nothing to do with your life.
I've got nothing to do. Yeah.
Alright, you're gonna
What have you got to do? Unlawful detentions and that.
Yeah, just leave him. We'll crim it and put it on. Have you circulated it? The fact that he's being weird.
Yeah, we already know you.
Right, sweet.
Alright, you're dismissed. Yeah.
Dismissed.
Yeah, you're dismissed. Yeah. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay. Then why is
And then we see what professional policing is supposed to look like. PC Blair's approach stands in sharp contrast to everything that came before it. He acknowledges the auditor's right to film. He calmly explains the police perspective, that when officers see someone recording near a sensitive location, they may check in to ensure there's no genuine threat. Crucially, he frames it as reassurance, not accusation. There are no demands for identification, no threats of detention, no creative reinterpretations of the law. Instead, he does something far more effective. He has a conversation. That simple shift transforms the entire atmosphere. The tension dissipates. The dynamic becomes cooperative rather than confrontational. By respecting the auditor's civil liberties while still performing his safeguarding role, PC Blair demonstrates that authority does not need aggression to be effective. This is policing by consent in action. The very principle British policing is built upon. It proves a powerful point. An officer can investigate concerns, satisfy legitimate security questions, and protect the public without overstepping legal boundaries. Professionalism and civil liberties are not opposing forces. When handled correctly, they reinforce one another. And in that contrast lies the real lesson of this encounter.
The upkeep of the building, how tax money is being spent, interactions with police constables. I like your scooter.
Thank you. But what's the purpose of the
In the politest way possible, I've literally just explained it.
No, I know you have, but
Thank you.
I don't understand what it is that you're...
I'll repeat it if you want.
No, you can, yeah.
So matters of public interest
But it's kind of
pertaining to the upkeep of the building,
But
interactions with police constables,
Okay.
and how people's tax money is being spent.
Okay. And what's the purpose? What is
The
that on behalf
purpose
of?
is to promote that photography isn't a crime.
No, it's not. No,
So
it's not.
that's technically that's the purpose.
But of course, we have a
technically
duty as
speaking.
officers to
Absolutely.
see people filming outside.
Definitely,
the
and your
police
approach has been, pretty good. Your demeanour's decent.
station. You know, like so. But I mean, you're not. So it's not. There's no nefarious.
No, it's not reconnaissance.
Officer in the vest. Be like PC Blair. The video closes on a note that feels almost symbolic. The auditor openly commends PC Blair, and notice how effortless that moment is. There's no hostility, no tension, no power struggle. When asked for his badge number, PC Blair provides it immediately and clearly. 5455. No hesitation. No defensiveness. Just transparency. That simple act reinforces a fundamental principle of accountable policing. Officers identify themselves when lawfully requested. Now compare that to what came before. The initial officers escalated a voluntary encounter into a detention, invoked counter-terror powers that required clear and articulable suspicion, and carried out a search that yielded absolutely nothing. In doing so, they strained public trust and created confrontation where none needed to exist. PC Blair, by contrast, followed the law. He remained composed. He respected the auditor's right to film. He asked questions without making demands. And most importantly, he de-escalated. That contrast is what makes this video so powerful. It functions as a real-world training scenario, a side-by-side demonstration of two approaches to authority. One relies on pressure and assumption. The other relies on professionalism and respect. If there's a takeaway here, it's simple. Authority exercised with restraint earns cooperation. Authority exercised without grounding invites scrutiny. Don't model the hostility. Model the professionalism.
There's no hostility involved or anything like that. Could I ask you to identify yourself, just for the sake of, obviously it's a requirement to do so, but I feel like you've been quite positive, so I shed light on the good and the bad, do you understand?
My name
Can you identify yourself?
Yeah, Constable Blair.
Constable Blair. And your number?
Sorry?
And your number, Mr. Blair?
It's 5455 Sierra Oscar.
5455 Sierra
Right.
Oscar. Alright, Mr. Blair.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that's how it should be done. That's how you should apprehend public photographers. So big up Mr. Blair. Do you know what I mean? If you approach me like that, then what can I do? What can I say? But yeah, I think that should do it, to be honest. No, I'm going to leave that one today. So that's flipping. That is Southwark Police Station.